Burgraff, an American philosopher, once said, "It takes 1 hour of preparation for each minute of presentation time."
Great ideas involve planning. Good organization is the key to effective communication because it helps make your ideas accessible to your audience.
Oh, hello there! It's Tuesday.
It's oral communication in context.
I am Tutor Alvin,
I am Tutor Irene
and we are your tutor tandem.
for ETULAY TV. This is quarter two, week three of oral communication in context. In today's episode, we will talk about the principles of effective speech writing with focus on audience profile and logical organization.
And for quarter two, week three, our target is for our student viewers to first identify the principles of effective speech writing.
Secondly, analyze the importance of audience profile and logical organization in writing a speech. So, buckle up and ready yourself for a new learning experience.
And let's get the ball rolling.
Hello there, Tutor Alvin.
Hello,
How are
Tutor
you
Eileen.
today?
Okay, I'm just fine. And how about you? And of course, our student viewers. So, hello there.
Yes, that is so nice to hear, Tutor Alvin. Hi there, our student viewers. As for me, I am very much excited because we are to meet once again our oral amazing students. And Tutor Alvin, aside from that, I'm really looking forward to the success of our beauty queens who are competing this past few weeks in the international stage. Indeed, it's pageant season once again. By the way, Tutor Alvin, did
Mm.
you know that our country is known to be a powerhouse in the world of beauty pageants?
Yeah, Tutor Eileen, given the fact that our country is being represented by beautiful and equally smart candidates, I have no doubts that we are powerhouse of beauty pageants, Tutor Eileen.
I totally agree with you, Tutor Alvin. And just recently, we had a winning streak in international pageants. And what I really love about these pageants, Tutor Alvin, is the way our candidates give their answer during the Q&A portion.
Yeah, actually, we share the same thoughts. The way the candidates deliver their answer is a very crucial moment and may make or break their chance in winning.
That's right, Tutor Alvin. Well, our conversation now makes me reminisce the answer of Catriona Gray
Mm.
during the final Q&A portion of the Miss Universe 2018, wherein Tutor Alvin, she was eventually crowned as the winner.
Yeah, the winner. I remember that too. Are you one of those who were left in awe after hearing the answer?
Well, totally, Sir Alvin. I'm
Uh,
really amazed with her. I think our student viewers can also recall the very moment, right? Our dear viewers, or maybe one of those who tried to memorize her answer and imitate her delivery.
Yeah, and some articles say that, Eileen, that answer of Catriona Gray in Miss Universe is one for the books and has set the standards for the question and answer portion in all beauty pageants.
Well, no doubt, Tutor Alvin. Well, even under pressure and time constraint, what do you think made Catriona's speech a remarkable one?
Actually, some say that it's because of her delivery. However, some also agree that it's the overall content of her speech that sealed the deal.
Well, this is very relevant to our topic today, Tutor Alvin, because whether in a pageant or in any language function for that matter, at one point, a person may find himself delivering a speech.
Yeah, and whether it is read aloud, rehearsed, or memorized, extemporaneous, or even impromptu, a speaker is expected to deliver a noteworthy speech. Thus, careful planning for a speech is essential.
That, our dear students, will be the focus of our session today. Join me and Tutor Alvin in exploring the different principles of effective speech writing.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for our lesson for today. So, a good speech requires days or even weeks of preparation, depending on the topic and the availability of materials needed. A speaker is expected to display exceptional knowledge in a particular field of expertise when delivering a speech. For this reason, our student viewers, careful planning is essential in coming up with a well written speech.
Absolutely, Tutor Alvin. When planning for writing a speech, we must consider the following principles.
But wait, Tutor Irene, what are those principles?
Now, these principles of effective speech writing, Tutor Alvin, are the following. We have the audience profile, logical organization, duration, word choice, and grammatical correctness. For
Hmm.
today's session, Tutor Alvin, we will focus on audience profile and logical organization. Now let's study and delve deeper into these principles one by one.
Okay, so the first principle of effective speech writing is audience profile.
For the information of our student viewers, an audience is a group of people who comes together to listen to the speaker. The audience may be a small group, a large group, or public audience. The audience may listen in a traditional way, which is face to face with the speaker, or they may listen through the use of communication technology or media.
And remember that whichever type of audience you may have and mode of listening they choose to use, your goal is for them to understand and respond favorably to what you are saying.
Truly, Tutor Alvin, and in developing your speech, our dear students, knowing your audience and conducting an audience analysis are very important aspects.
Precisely, Tutor Eileen. Through the process conducting an audience analysis, you can find a common ground and create a link between you, the speaker, and the audience. You may use this table, okay, to analyze your target audience. So this is the audience analysis wherein the age bracket, the gender, the educational background, is being analyzed so that we can know better who will be our audience, so that we can write, okay, a tailor fit, okay, speech for them. How about what are the other elements of the audience analysis?
May I add, Tutor Alvin, that you may also include the marital status of your audience, could be
Mm.
their language spoken and even religious affiliations or other things that you want to know about your audience.
So again, this analysis is done basically so that you can tailor fit speech content and delivery to your audience.
Always remember, analyzing your audience will help you discover the information you can use to build a connection between you and the members of your audience.
That's right. And that is audience profile. And remember its importance in writing your speech. The next principle is logical organization. Once you have already analyzed your target audience, the next part is to organize your speech manuscript.
That's correct, Tutor Alvin. The logical organization or arrangement of thoughts when it comes to speech writing can be defined as all aspects of your writing that help the reader move smoothly from one sentence to the next and from one paragraph to another, flowing logically from one key point to the next, from beginning to the end.
Yeah, and it is suggested to start with an outline first. Okay, so when writing your speech, you must consider these three principal parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion.
So those are the three most important parts of your speech. Now let's start with the introduction. This is the first part of the written speech. The introduction presents the main idea of your speech. It is also important to note that the goal of this part is to get the attention of the audience and provide the foundation for all the information that follows.
And for the information of our students, Tutor Eileen, the speaker generally spends only about 10 to 15% of the time
Oh,
allotted for the speech on the introduction.
take note of that, our dear student viewers. 10 to 15% of the time
Mhm.
allotted. Now,
Yeah.
according to Wrench in 2012, a good introduction serves five functions. Let's
Mhm.
have those functions. The first one is to gain audience attention and interest. The second one is to state the purpose of your speech. The third one is to establish your credibility. How about the fourth and the fifth one, Tutor Alvin?
Okay. Another function when you are creating or crafting a good introduction is that it will provide reasons for your audience to listen and to preview the main idea of your speech. Yeah, so those are the five functions of a good introduction. So it's very essential that you need to craft a very good introduction. So the next part of speech is the body. The body is the core part of your speech that elaborates the main idea and the key concepts of the speech. So this offers definitions, examples, or any information that can help you convey your intention and clarify the main concept of your speech. Thus, it must be presented in an organized manner.
And may I just add, Tutor Alvin, that the body of the speech may be presented using the different common patterns of organization, such as problem solution order, categorical or topical order, chronological order, comparison and contrast order, spatial or geographical order, and the causal order.
Wow, so there are a lot of ways, right? And
Yes,
means
Tutor
on
Alvin.
how they can develop their speech. So let's begin with the first pattern of organization, which is the problem solution order. So this pattern explains the problem and suggests a possible solution.
That's correct, Tutor Alvin. It's very easy, right? Now let's proceed to the next pattern. Our next pattern of organization is the categorical or topical order. This pattern divides the topic into subtopics that are arranged based on the importance of the key point in supporting the main idea.
That is right, Tutor Eileen. It is another great pattern which you can use in developing the body of your speech. Let's move on now to another pattern of organization, which is the chronological order. So this pattern presents a historical or time order, which is from the past to the present. This method is best applied in giving narratives in which the speaker tells a story or account in the order in which the events occur.
Now, Tutor Alvin, I think that particular pattern of organization can also be observed in historical books, right? Saying or giving narratives, right, about history. Now, let's proceed to the next pattern. Our next pattern of organization is the comparison and contrast order. This pattern compares and contrasts two or more points, or simply giving the similarity and differences of two or more topics.
Yeah, and that is comparison and contrast order. So another pattern of organization is the spatial or geographical order. This pattern presents an idea in the order of their physical location or space, maybe from the word geography, right? So it is
Yes.
like going from one place to another or from one direction to another.
I think, Tutor Alvin, this is one of those patterns of organization that is quite unfamiliar to some because this is not commonly used in speech writing. But it is also important to note that we have this kind of pattern of organization. Thank you, Tutor Alvin. And last but not the least is the causal order. This pattern involves a discussion of both the cause and the effect of an issue. Simply as that. So that is our causal order.
In this writing pattern, it simply means we will be identifying the result and the reason why it happened. So that is the causal order. Again, the common method or patterns of organization are problem solution order, categorical or topical order, chronological order, comparison and contrast order, spatial or geographical order, and causal order. Now, Tutor Irene, let's see if our students could identify the most appropriate pattern of organization that must be applied in the following speech topics.
I'm pretty sure our students could ace this drill, Tutor Alvin. Let's have the first one. On your screen are dear students, the life of the greatest pharaohs that ruled the ancient Egyptian civilization. Let's check our students' answers. All right, what could be their answer? Will you please reveal the answer, Tutor Alvin?
Sure, Tutor Irene. In our first topic, the most appropriate pattern of organization that must be applied is the chronological order. You can use this pattern to present a timeline of the greatest pharaohs of ancient Egypt and the significant events in their lives.
And in addition, Tutor Alvin, it is best to use the chronological pattern when we are to present historical order in our speech because it highlights organization of events from past to present.
That's correct, Tutor Irene. This pattern is what we can observe in historical speeches most of the time. Moving on, let's have the next topic. The distinct characteristics of men and women and how they complement each other. Let's check our student answers. So, will you please reveal the answer this time, Tutor Irene?
Surely, Tutor Alvin, in our second topic, the most appropriate pattern of organization that must be applied is dun, 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 comparison and contrast order.
Ooh.
Since we are referring, Tutor Alvin, to characteristics of men and women, you can use this pattern to identify the resemblances and even the distinctions of men and women.
That's a bit tricky one, Tutor Irene. I thought the answer is problem solution order, wherein the former is the problem and the latter is the solution. Just kidding, Tutor Irene.
That's really a good one, Tutor Alvin. Nice one.
Now, kidding aside, the comparison and contrast order is indeed the most appropriate pattern to use, especially when you are trying to give the similarities and differences of two or more things.
Absolutely right, Tutor Alvin. Now let's have another speech topic. This time it is the use of bicycles as an alternative to solve the shortage in public transportation. Now, our dear student viewers, what could be your guesses? All
Hmm.
right, let's see their answers. Can you please reveal the answer, Tutor Alvin?
Now, this is the kind of speech topic that I'm referring to earlier, actually.
I guess so, Tutor Alvin.
Because in this topic, the most appropriate pattern of organization that must be applied is the problem solution order. It is quite obvious in this topic that there is a problem that needs a solution because of the phrase to solve. You can use this pattern to explain the problem in public transportation and suggest the use of bicycles as a possible solution.
Indeed, Tutor Alvin, sometimes there are already clues in the topic or even in the theme that will help our speech writers in identifying the best pattern of organization to use in their speech.
Ready for another one, students? Here is the topic: the most beautiful beaches in North Cebu and South Cebu. And what could be the answer for this? All right, let's reveal the answer, Tutor Irene.
For this topic, the most appropriate pattern of organization that must be applied is dun, 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 spatial or geographical
Mhm.
order. You can use this pattern to present the most beautiful beaches in Cebu and in the order of their physical location. Now, moving on, let's have the last topic, the brief overview of the senior high school curriculum in the Philippines and its tracks and strands. Will you help me check our students' answer and, of course, reveal the answer, Tutor Alvin?
Of course, in our last topic, most appropriate pattern of organization that must be applied is the categorical or topical order. Yeah, so you can use this pattern to explain the senior high school curriculum in the Philippines as the main topic, and the tracks and strands as subtopics. If you can recall earlier, this pattern divides the topic into subtopics that are arranged based on the importance of the key point in supporting the main idea.
Woo! That was a very nice topic analysis, Tutor Alvin.
Yeah.
Indeed, there are various organizing patterns that one can use in writing the body of the speech. But I remember, dear students, that the speaker must make sure that the chosen pattern is appropriate for the subject matter being developed and, of course, the purpose being carried out.
That's right. So, moving on to the last part of our discussion. Of course, after writing the body of your speech using the different methods of organization, the last thing that you need to work on is how to end it. So let's move on to the last part of the speech, which is the conclusion. This part reiterates the main idea and summarizes your whole speech.
It is also important to note, Tutor Alvin, that in writing the conclusion for a speech, the speaker must make sure that this part signals the end of the speech. Well, the conclusion part can also be written using different strategies.
Wow, and what are these strategies, Tutor Aileen?
Now, one strategy, Tutor Alvin, is to present a summary. Another one is to repeat the key ideas presented. Do you know some more, Tutor Alvin?
Yeah, actually, so you can also repeat the central idea for emphasis or go back to the strategy used in the introduction or end with an impact using thought provoking questions, humor, quotation, a call for action, or a connection to a larger context.
Now, one may think that completing the introduction, body, and conclusion means that little improvement is needed. However, it is also important to take a second look at your written speech, fix any problem, and improve your ideas because even experienced writers and speakers need to constantly improve their writing style.
Precisely, Tudor Irene. And to our student viewers, at some point in your life, you will probably have to make a speech. And undoubtedly, you want that speech to be a memorable one for your listeners. Therefore, dear students, bear in mind the principles that we've just discussed the next time you have to write a speech. Yes, we're done with the discussion part. For this session, we talked about the first two principles of effective speech writing, which are audience profile and
Logical organization.
in the audience profile, it is very important that we need to identify the characteristics of our audience, including their educational attainment, their gender, marital status, and the like.
And also, Tutor Alvin, it's also important for our student viewers to remember the three main parts of a speech, which is observed, in the logical organization principle of effective speech writing. Again, those three parts are the introduction, body, and conclusion. And now that we have finished discussing the principles, audience profile, and logical organization in effective speech writing, let's move on to our learning kamustahan.
All right, so our student viewers, we will flash different situations on the screen. So help us identify the principle of effective speech writing that is observed or should be applied in each item. Are you ready? Tutor Irene, are you ready?
Of course, I am ready, Tutor Alvin.
And to our student viewers, let's start.
All right, item number one. Mrs. Alvarez receives an invitation to be a resource speaker in an event. The invitation comes from an educational institution that caters to elementary to college students. The invitation indicates that the audience will be freshmen. She writes a speech for college freshmen right away. During the day of the event, she realizes that the audience are high school freshmen and not the college
Wow.
freshmen she initially thought of. Now, what do you think is the principle of effective speech writing that must be applied in this situation?
In number one, the correct answer is audience profile. Mrs. Alvarez should have made sure of her specific audience first, right? So before she wrote
Yes.
her speech. Okay, so let's proceed now to the second one. A Supreme Student Government candidate visits all these sections in different grade levels to campaign and delivers speeches at each stop. He keeps on repeating the same self accomplishments but mentions no plan for action once he is elected. In the end, instead of persuading the audience, they are displeased because of the unorganized speech. So, what do you think is the answer?
Mm-hmm. Well, our dear students, you guessed it right. In number two, the correct answer is logical organization. The candidate here should have carefully planned the content of his speech and arranged his thoughts logically. Now, let's have item number three. Mr. Asuncion, a gym owner, prepares a presentation on physical fitness for their next General Assembly. The attendees are all fitness oriented young men and women. In his presentation, he includes on the spot physical exercises to be done by his audience. What do you think is the most applicable principle for effective speech writing here in this situation?
So, the answer to this is audience profile. Mr. Asuncion crafted a presentation that is tailor fit to his audience. Number four, a senior high school student is assigned to give an informative speech on the life of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning living monarch, and her significant accomplishments through the years. During the speech presentation, he received a low score because the student compared the Queen to other living monarchs instead of his assigned task. So, what do you think is the principle of speech writing in this item?
We'll see. All right. The answer here is logical organization. The student should have reviewed the organization of contents in his speech and should have employed a chronological pattern instead of comparing and contrasting the monarch to another monarch. Now let's have the last one. A volunteer doctor is assigned to give a talk on vaccination. He prepares an outline first and lists down important points that he will discuss in his talk. Because of the doctor's well organized presentation, the audience understood the benefits of being vaccinated, and in the end, he was able to persuade the audience to sign up for vaccination. What do you think is the principle that can be observed in this situation?
All right, so you guessed it right, dear students. The answer is logical organization. So the speaker arranged his thoughts in a manner that flows logically from one key point to the next. Okay, hap hooray, our oral com students. Did you get a score of perfect 5? If you did, give us a high five.
We certainly hope you were able to answer all the items correctly. And for those who were not able to, I remember constant practice will lead to better results.
Our dearest oral amazing students, writing a speech is different from writing an essay. Write not for the readers, but with listeners in mind. Unlike when they read, the audience has a limited chance to comprehend the information as you speak. Therefore, your speech must be well organized and easy to understand.
Very true, Tutor Alvin. In writing a speech, every part must be well crafted to carry out the purpose of the speech. A good introduction cannot rescue a poor body and conclusion. Likewise, a good conclusion cannot rescue a bad introduction and body. Each speech component must contribute substantially to the totality of the speech. There you have it. Thank you for your participation, oral amazing students. This has been Tutor Irene.
And I am Tutor Alvin.
See you next Tuesday for more thrilling adventure.
Always remember to be the best in oral communication in context.
Only here on ETULAY TV.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye!